Hello World Wide Web, I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality with the best hair, and it's time to review the Elder Phantasms IV, oblIVion. Or Phantasm IV oblIVion, or Phantasm oblIVion, I don't know. I guess it's about time I'm as sure of the title as I am of the plot, but either way we get to the fourth film in the franchise where it took 9 years from the first to make the second, 6 years for the third, and then 4 years to produce this one. And then 18 before the fifth showed up, but before we get into any of that, we should probably try to actually unpack the plot for this film. oblIVion follows up the events of Phantasm III, where Mike ran off on his own to escape the Tall Man, and the risk of hurting his friends. This means Reggie has to spend another movie trying to track him down, while along the way the Tall Man torments the two endlessly. Also, there was plenty of unused footage from the first movie, so fuck it, let's fill out the running time with some of that. It said the original Phantasm actually ran over 3 hours long, so you could actually cut like a 90-minute movie out of nothing but deleted scenes from the original Phantasm. It might not have the most cohesive plot if you do that, but you know, fuck it, it's a Phantasm movie. So anyway, let's take a look at Phantasm IV, oblIVion, and at least try and see what happens. The movie opens right where Phantasm III left off. Sort of. Mike's driving away from the events of the third movie, but you'd have to have seen those events to know that. The film seems more interested in giving the Tall Man some creepy hallway time, while also showcasing tons of clips from the series with pretty much no context. Either that or I missed the part where Mike found the LSD in the glove compartment. Eventually, though, they do actually start explaining the lore again.
We called him the Tall Man. At first we thought he was just an undertaker.
Then there was that whole theory about the alien making tiny slaves for his home planet. But then we found out he was actually shrinking them down to put tiny brains into little death balls and make an army. But boy, did we get egg on our face when we found out all the time it was just Angus Scrim.
Jody was taken from us, turned by the Tall Man into an alien form.
Or, in Latin, a xenomorph. Would that have actually made the movie any more crazy?
My name is Reggie. I was an ice cream vendor by trade. Now, I'm a soldier.
Does that mean you only get to say about 100 words this movie?
I was left deep in the catacombs of the Tall Man's lair. Mike left me hanging.
No. Mike left you out on the lawn. You went back into there with Timmy, and then got left hanging on the wall. Which begs the question, where the hell is Timmy? Never brought up all the movie. Allegedly, there was a planned scene where he was eaten by lurkers, but let's just assume he said fuck it, called his agent, and got a better gig. Reggie Bannister, on the other hand, is not hardly cut into tiny bits with tiny blades and tiny drills, hanging from tiny strings. Why is that?
Your end approaches, but it is not yet.
Because we've still got a whole other movie to go through. At the very least, I hope the effects get better from here on out. Thank you! Anyway, it's time to start the new movie proper, with A. Michael Baldwin mentioning he's heading southeast, where everything has already been destroyed anyway. Kinda regret not visiting these places before the Waffle House closed down due to the body count rising.
Do you remember our old town? That last perfect day before he came.
And we're starting off showing deleted scenes from Phantasm I bright and early. Can you believe that they thought in the editing room that Reggie's ice cream route wasn't as important as Michael Baldwin going on about how the Tall Man is trying to get me? But what does Mike consider a perfect day? Jumping onto a moving vehicle and jacking their shit. There goes Mike, stealing my livelihood. As that was the last perfect day in their town, of course that means the very next morning, Mike and Jody witness the Tall Man showing up and establishing how evil he is as quickly as possible. Okay, the reanimating the dead to crunch them down and stick their brains into little tiny balls to kill people I can forgive, but that is just going too far. While Mike muses over the franchise's backstory and whatever happened to Bill Thornberry, we find out soon enough when the movie suddenly switches over to Reggie fixing the tires of his car. But then...
Hey, Reg.
God damn it.
I love how annoyed Reggie sounds here. It's like even he is sick of the jump scared by friends shit you have to deal with in horror movies. Jody's here to tell him there's a new movie and he's still in it. Unfortunately, Reggie wants a break from this excitement and doesn't even know how to go about finding Mike anyway.
I wouldn't know where to look.
If you just keep driving, southwest a few hundred miles.
Yeah, thanks, Jody. Ever think about just telling me the city so I could just go Southwest Airlines? So he's on the job, but he's not going to be the only one spending way too long on the road in this movie. Mike's still driving down the long and lonely road, jump scares in tow. However, when the tall man teleports his ass into the back seat, Mike freaks out. Trying to stop, change course, or break the fuck out fails miserably, however.
The coach will drive itself.
Mr. Man, you do know that cruise control is not autopilot, right?
Where are you taking me?
Where you belong.
An acting school. No, not like that. Mike actually runs one down in Austin. The tall man uses the usual repertoire of vague non-answers to his questions, dismissing Reggie coming to save anything, before leaving via the red light casket's magical happy slide. So then, where does Mike truly belong? Oh my, Death Valley. Because death! And remember, the ritual must be performed on the Day of the Dead while watching Night of the Living Dead and listening to the Grateful Dead. However, it seems in wanting to get this shit over with as fast as possible, Reggie was speeding! Wouldn't you know it? The only other soul in a 50-mile radius happened to be a police officer, and he's pulled over. However, when he hands the cop his license and registration, they disappear. Heading over to the police car to find out what's going on reveals even more terrifying surprises. Looks like the county's got a pretty extreme penalty for jaywalking. It turns out the Fuzz is a motherfucking demon, played by Bubba Hotep himself, Bob Ivy. He's easy enough to escape from into the car. Problem is, Reggie left the key on the trunk, so... I should be terrified, but I'm just sitting here trying to figure out if that demon makeup reminds me more of the Djinn from Wishmaster or a Cenobite. Ah well, Reggie can't unlock the shotgun, but he can still use it, though that doesn't exactly improve the situation. You think that's disgusting? Allegedly they did 5 takes of that scene. Even then, a few rounds of buckshot to the belly can't take the demon down, so Reggie blows him the fuck up! This is a nice means to segue over to Mike, where his own car has been rendered inoperable due to overheating. No bother, he made it all the way down to the Planet of the Apes regardless. Or Tatooine. It's even more impressive. Either way, he's trapped here and finds no happy slide to escape to within the coffin. Just some man-in-the-suit brand menswear. Oh well, he can at least detail his secret plan to take out the tall man in a note to Reggie.
When the sun comes up, I'm gonna force him out. See if I can't take him down with me.
Oh, so that's his plan. Good plan. That night he is tormented by nightmares, consisting not only of stock footage, but weird dreams of times so long ago they're in black and white. That just makes it even more terrifying when Dr. Man jams a rod up Civil War Mike's nose. But it was all just a dream! Oh yeah, we knew that. Oh well. Reggie wakes up that day the way he does most days, wondering where he's going to find some hot young woman to lust over for the next 90 minutes or so. Man spent all his points on luck perks. This would be Jennifer, played by Heidi Marnhout. As she's not actually jumping on Reggie just yet, all we do is watch her get in her car and leave. Whoa, Mike, it's not that serious. Also, what the hell is that rope even tied to? Oh, okay, I thought we were still in Dreamland where nooses just hang from the sky because, fuck it, it's Phantasm. Also because, fuck it, Mike hangs himself. We're only 30 minutes in, though, so the tall man shows up once more, giving the movie time to rewind back to some more unused footage from the original Phantasm. Seems Jody and Mike tried to get one over on the tall man quite a few times, such as the point where Mike gets the tall man to chase him right into a trap. The man in the suit, he's in a tree. The man in the suit, he cannot breathe. So yeah, that happened. At one point, Mike and Jody actually defeated the tall man using some fucking rope and timber. Also, this is a great reference to the current movie hanging Mike from a tree. Or it would be if the original scene had actually been in the original movie. Thing is, we all know that's not how it ended, and the tall man did indeed live. But how? Because it turns out Mike's been incredibly stupid for his entire life.
Put me down, boy.
Oh, well, since you asked so nicely. To be fair, Mike does refuse at first, at least until the tall man Pinky swears that if he lets him down, he's gonna leave the town and stop being a super evil alien necromancer for good, for realsies, which he obviously didn't do.
Boy!
But hey, he cut Mike down from the tree too. So he can continue to torment and torture him, but you take the good with the bad. As such, the tall man is here, inviting Mike to come with all the ambiguity you've come to expect in his vocabulary. Mike, however, doesn't go with him, instead choosing to run towards a random portal that just appeared.
Careful what you look for. You just might find it.
In a Phantasm movie, please, he's more likely to run into the middle of a music video starring Rick Astley. Instead, though, he pops out of a steampunk workshop. Mike has moved through space and time into the past to find the origins of the horrors destroying the world around him.
Have we met?
The tall man before he was the tall man. I mean, he's still tall, and a man, but he's not he's not the tall man.
Jebediah Morningside.
He's just a chipper old doctor who moonlights as a mad scientist. Seems Jebediah was a kind old man, but seeing Mike's clothes and confused expression clues him in that he must have emerged from the dimensional gateway. Good luck getting any more questions answered, though, because in the search for truth, Mike just runs the fuck away, right back through the copper-coated town portal, and back to Death Valley, which now has even more prongs all over. How terrifying-ish. Oh, well, fuck it. Let's go back to Reggie, who is still trying to get laid. Following Jennifer close behind, he revs up beside her for a high-speed staring contest. Does this count as a Phantasm car chase? Well, I suppose if it did, then one of them would have to hit a rock, do a flip, and then explode. Jesus Christ. Remind me to never let Don Coscarelli drive. But the point is, they're safe, and on top of that, Mike just found out he has telekinetic powers! It's either that or Luke just turned to the dark side. There's something like that going on with him. After all, when his brother Bald Jody shows up, Mike's extremely dismissive of the guy, questioning his motives and his very identity. After all, he claims to be Jody, but Mike knows Jody died in a car wreck. Almost like he forgot the reanimating the dead thing that's been the driving force of the entire series. Oh well, so there's some tension there, but on the bright side, Reggie has stuck around the hot blonde who got all her hot clothes absolutely destroyed by the hot flames.
My name's Jennifer, by the way. Thanks for pulling my ass out of the fire.
Well, I had to grab a hold of something. So Reggie doesn't just abandon her, he takes her to the next town, which means we go back to Mike and Jody arguing about the same shit, and Jody pleading that he didn't abandon Mike. He was taken. And, so, what's going on? You know, being confusing isn't always scary, but it is confusing. The massive portals opening up all over the place is a bit concerning, so Mike utilizes his Peter Parker powers of scientific wizardry to rip open the car's engine and MacGyver up something that might help later. In the here and now, though, Reggie's just trying to get laid. Rather than drive Jennifer all the way to the next town, he stops in an abandoned motel with plans to spend the night. Naturally, it's a rundown piece of shit, and she's not feeling it, so he does his best salesman pitch to get her on board.
Look, hey, we got 24-hour room service, huh?
Well, hey, hold up. That pizza does look pretty fresh. You might want to check the area for vagrants. Or mutant turtles. Or vagrant mutant turtles. Continuing to ping-pong back and forth between the two barely related stories, Reggie convinces her to spend the night, and we finally see what Mike's managed to manufacture. I'd be even more impressed if he managed to finally fix the check engine light. And we're back with Reggie and Jennifer. Funny thing, even with her stripping down into her family-friendly skivvies, it turns out taking her to some run-down, abandoned, stank-ass motel in the middle of nowhere and following that up with a long, insane rant about this supernatural tall dude who kills just about everyone but somehow hasn't killed your friend, so you have to save him for the umpteenth time, doesn't turn her on. So off to sleep Reggie goes, where he finds something almost as creepy as himself.
Why?
The man in the suit, he was your friend. The man in the suit, he met his end. The man in the suit, he made you scream. The man in the suit, all just a dream! But that dream woman is still here right beside Reg, with the covers off, all hot and sexy, with her gyrating titties. Wait a minute, gyrating titties?
You want to get it on, Reggie?
Oh, come on, Reg, be fair. Everyone has their faults. Though I suppose once they fly off and start attacking him, that would make it kinda hard to enjoy yourself. Fear not, however, for Reggie has a secret weapon. His tuning fork. Hey, you mean this whole time the tall man could have been defeated with the power of loud music? Well, with the killer implants removed from the equation, Reggie can go forth to save Mike like he was supposed to.
Wait! We're not done yet!
That's true, Reg. You could get a quickie in before you hit the road.
Sorry, baby. But yes, we are.
I'm just thinking. Reggie was alone with her the entire time. There's no one else to corroborate his side of the story. What if after all this time he really has just gone crazy and straight up murdered an innocent woman? So let's forget about that fan theory as soon as possible, going right back to Mike, who goes right back through another portal, but this one doesn't really show us anything new. My best guess is they're filming a new Man in the Suit menswear commercial in LA. Jody helps Mike hide from the tall man during filming, and we see exactly how close Reggie is. Oh, the Funeral Mountains. Because funeral! I hope that does mean we get some Norwegian death metal at some point. It's here Reggie finds Mike's hearse and gets ready for a battle, commando style. A Colt 1911, that motherfucking quadruple-barreled sawed-off shotgun, a tiny, not-so-intimidating switchblade, and his ice cream man clothes. Okay, I think we can pretty much confirm the man has simply gone insane at this point, which might explain why he leaves the car and just fucking walks the rest of the way, taking until sundown to reach the hearse, but not finding Mike anywhere. Probably because he's still traveling through portals, reaching such places as the Forbidden Zone with Jody. This means Reggie must wait around all alone, with lurkers lurking about. Badass as that thing is, it might help to invest in a couple of speed loaders just in case. Or, remember that you happen to have a 45 ACP strapped to your waist. Well, after another short break to remind us the characters are not in the same place as one another, we do get to see Reggie go through his entire arsenal, shotgun, pocket knife, and yes, the 1911 as well. Now that this is over with, Mike and Reggie finally meet up for the first time, a mere 70 minutes into the movie. Mike has a warning for Reggie, though, about Jody.
Don't trust him, Reggie. Stay here. There's something I need to do.
Ah, fuck no. You just got back together, and the first thing out of your mouth is, hey, let's split up? Fuck you, Mike. So Mike and Jody turn right the fucker back around, heading right the fuck back through the fucking portal to the point where Jebediah Morningside became the tall fucking man. It turns out he was a doctor who saw death all the time during the Civil War, but he was also a scientist who learned the secrets of the universe. Something, something, vibrations, yellow blood, something, and his last experiment, where he crossed the portal, would transform him into the pure evil tall man forever. So Mike figures, just stab the fucker.
You can't affect him. We're not in the same dimension.
Well, if you can travel through space and time, maybe just go back a little bit further and try again. But it's too late for time travel. The tall man is born. Such as he was long before Mike was born, but no bother. Mike just goes through the portal himself. Jody follows, and Mike stabs Jody to death. Because, he didn't know if his brother was really his brother, after all. Which maybe he was, maybe he wasn't, but, who cares? It looks like plans to stop anything by killing anyone aren't going to work in this franchise. So Mike's captured again, and Jody holds him down while the tall man tears into his skull. But wait, Reggie slipped Mike the tuning fork, and using it, he stuns the tall man, giving him the chance to kill his brother. Again. Now he just has to worry about the tall man. Yeah, Mike, it's a fork, not a ray gun. Disarmed, Mike flees back through the portal, where Reggie can save him. If by save him you mean stand there, do nothing, and be tossed aside, providing no help to the situation whatsoever. Thing is, Mike already set up quite the trap for the tall man. Oh, thank you! I've had that knot in the back of my neck for decades. But this was actually just part of the elaborate trap set up for the tall man. The real trap was the whining engine, which causes the tall man to get confused, walk closer to the hearse, and then it blows the fuck up, killing the tall man once and for about 50 seconds. Then he just pops out of the portal again anyway, waltzing over to the stunned Mike and easily tearing the shiny ball out of the man's head. Thus the tall man wins. However, Reggie is still alive, and Mike is still barely alive. It's going to be okay. Reggie has a plan. Grabbing his shotgun, he rushes through the portal to save the day.
Mike, you're still alive.
Or reload a previous save. Either way. And that's it. Reggie shows up in his ice cream truck, picking Mike up and driving off. Somewhere. The end. Which solves the problem of the tall man and Mike having his brain ball ripped out in present day. How? Well, that was Phantasm IV, oblIVion. Sure was. It's never easy to describe a Phantasm movie, but oblIVion was slow. Yes, the amount of things thrown at you in Phantasm 3 could be overwhelming, but it's better than waiting for something to happen. Anything to happen. The theme here seems to be exploring the depths of the world and the characters, but there's very little in terms of character growth or world building. Most of the cast simply don't interact over the course of the film, and the big new places are the past, which we spend very little time exploring, and a rocky desert, which really doesn't have that much to explore in it anyway. So there's tension between Mike and Jody, out of nowhere. His brother never seemed evil before, but he is now so tension. Reggie's got, well, he's still got his ice cream selling outfit, so that's something we didn't know. The tall man's backstory is much different than what we theorized in previous installments, but it's not dug into very much at all. Yes, that keeps it mysterious, but when Mike's standing there and might actually get some lore out of the guy only to run the fuck away after we spend how long jerking around in this movie, it's a tad frustrating. At the end of it all, it leaves oblIVion just, adequate. It's got some intrigue and spooky situations, decent enough acting, and some fun parts, but nothing that really stands out in the series. As a horror movie on its own, it does the job, but is still pretty damn slow-paced. I'd say oblIVion comes in at 3 steampunk, alien, technological, dimensional portals of death, pain, and painful death out of 5. If you compare it to pretty much any other horror movie out there, saying that it lacks twists seems a little silly, but I guess I just really liked Phantasm 3. Thank you all for watching. I've been Shado, and remember, you can defeat the ultimate evil with the power of loud music.
He's like a shadow. He's like a shadow. He's like a shadow.
The internet personality with the best hair.
He's like a shadow. He's like a shadow. He's like a shadow.
The internet personality with the best hair.
You want to get it on, Reggie?
No!